I want to speak about the way that we tend to women's bodies and this new, emerging, and also ancient way of tending with integrity and great care. And so, this is in the context of breast massage, of tending to women's breasts, as that is my realm of specialty. But this can also apply to tending to the womb, women's womb care, any kind of pelvic healing, all these realms of the female body. And this is really in the context of a world and a culture that has highly sexualized women's bodies and the female form. So, with breast massage is not taught in most massage schools in the US and in the UK, and many other places in the world. Yeah, breast massage is left out of the curriculum. And there's some good reasons for that. I think on a really foundational level, those trainings and schools are not equipped to support and train people to actually be able to navigate these realms in an integral way. So they kind of just leave it out, just like we're not even going to go there. We're not even going to teach that. So it's very much a no-go zone for a lot of body care. And something that I've seen is in these realms, this kind of pendulum swing into more extremes. And neither feel fully honoring to me. And so I'm going to also speak to this other way, this, again, new and emerging yet ancient way that we can tend to women's bodies. These two swings that I see, one is the medical model, the current modern medical model that is very sterile and cold and detached, and kind of in response to the sexualization, the potential charge that can be present in a woman's body. They go to the extreme of becoming really cold, really detached, so that there is no confusion with sexual energy. But this approach, this clinical approach, which is meant to seem professional, is actually disembodied. It's detached. There is no warmth. There is no heart. There is no, it's almost like you're supposed to leave your actual care and humanness at the door to, be sterile, to be neutral. But this kind of care can actually be very traumatizing to the body and the spirit. I would not want a doctor touching my breasts in that strange, cold, uncomfortable way. It's very awkward. It has a weird feeling to it. And our bodies can sense that, and our bodies do not respond well to that. That is not a healing approach, right? So that's one end, right, of the swing. And then I also have seen another end of the swing, which is kind of, in response to the breast being sexualized and being left out of massage trainings. There's some people who then are like, let's just include the breasts. The breasts are just another part of our body, just like any other part, right? There's this desire to normalize and to include the breasts and kind of not be so weird about it, right? And just let's just include it. Let's not be weird. But that swing can actually sometimes be a little bit too casual and a little bit also dissociative of not acknowledging the very real power and potency that are in these places in a woman's body. So, I've seen, these phrases that's kind of like, it's just another part of our body. Let's just include it. Let's just normalize it. The breasts need care just as much as anywhere else does. Let's just get over it, right? And I've seen as well, there's breast massage trainings out there where men are allowed into the trainings, riding on this premise that it's not such a big deal. Men are great. Men can do this too. Everyone's invited. Let's just normalize the breasts, But even sexualization aside, even if we're not touching on the realms of the sexualization of the breasts, this is a powerful and potent place on a woman's body. I mean, the breasts literally nourish life into form through breast milk. The breasts are right over our hearts, our heart center. They're extensions of our heart center. And there is so much going on in the breasts, in the tissues here. So much connected to our matriarchal lineages, to our relationship to mothering, to giving and receiving love. So even without the sexualization, this is actually a potent place that deserves that acknowledgement. And sometimes when we are too casual about it and just want to make it normal, it actually is dishonoring what is true, the true potency. That, massaging somebody's breasts is absolutely not the same as massaging somebody's arm. Of course, there can be potency and medicine in someone's arm, but there's just all of these layers of cultural and ancestral significance. All of these layers of heart and emotional significance for many women that is here. That is kind of being, swept under the rug and not fully acknowledged if we're just approaching it from this trying to normalize. And then further, the sexualization piece is very real because most women, most female beings who have walked in a female form, walked on this earth with breasts, have probably experienced the objectification and sexualization of their bodies and have probably had to navigate those realms in some way. So while we would love to just, dissolve those charges and any strangeness with that energy, the truth is very different, in many women's tissues, and the very tissues of their breasts may be some of those energies, some of those layers to process. That is actually what is part of the healing of a breast massage, the healing of contacting this area. But it's a very real factor that also deserves acknowledgement and tending rather than pretending that it doesn't exist or that we don't want it to exist. And in that vein, especially, in thinking about a male practitioner, a man touching women's breasts to massage them, that is a very different energy and dynamic that might bring up very different things for a woman than if it's another woman giving her a breast massage. And that's important to speak to and to acknowledge. And I think there absolutely could be situations where it could be healing and nourishing to receive a breast massage from a man. But I personally do not vouch for, or I do not think that it's men's work and men's place to touch women's bodies in that way and hold that healing space for women's bodies. I think it would have to be a very, very highly evolved man to be able to hold a neutral space for that. And I don't really think it's their place to do so. So I personally do not allow men into my breast massage trainings. I do feel like teaching men how to give breast massage to their partners would be absolutely amazing. But that's a whole other topic and realm. And this brings me to this other way of how we can tend to women's bodies with reverence and care. And in this way, I feel that, the neutrality aspect is absolutely essential. That is just foundational and a given, that if you are touching women's bodies in these sacred places, if you are giving breast massages or doing pelvic work, especially internal pelvic work with women, it's just absolutely foundational that you are able to hold a neutral space, that you are not going to be sexualizing a woman's body, that you're not going to be, muddying the waters, so to speak, with sexual energy that you cannot contain. Right? So I actually have a friend who is a lesbian, and she did the same training that I did, and she was like, I would never be able to give breast massages to women. It's too much of a sexual realm for me. Like, I couldn't touch women's breasts like that and hold neutral space. And that is integrity. That's being in integrity and truth with where you're at. And I'm not saying that all lesbians could not hold that space, but that to me is like an absolute, just foundational, necessary personal integrity, that if you are going to be touching these sacred places in women's body, that you can hold a neutral and clear presence, a healing space. And then beyond that, we are meant to hold a deeply loving, caring space. It is that field of love and care that is healing, right? The presence of love, the presence of true care. That is what is really healing. That is when a woman's body feels safe to open, to unwind, to release, to shed those tears that they've been holding. And sometimes in our modern culture, people can't tell the difference between love and sex, and they are just intertwined. And so people try to separate it out and say, okay, to make sure we're not being sexual, like no love, no care, we're gonna, or even that, make it really casual, like this isn't a thing, don't worry, it's just casual, just clinical. But that's so dishonoring, so dishonoring to women's bodies, to what we are carrying, to the medicine in our wombs and in our breasts and our hearts. So I feel that there is a way to approach women's bodies with such reverence and such care and love, acknowledgement of the potency and power and medicine that a woman's body is, acknowledgement and reverence for what she is carrying, and also simultaneously a neutrality of presence, a clarity in our field where we can just hold that beautiful, loving space and it be nourishing touch and loving touch that is not sexual at all. That is very different than a sexual space. And this is, just a really beautiful, sacred, I feel, core of what is being remembered. What is being remembered in us women for how to tend to each other's bodies in these ways. And it's really what we need. It's the kind of space that we need, and the kind of space that is actually going to support our bodies and our spirits. And this is what I have come to over many years of giving breast massages and also holding womb healing space for women, that I have come to this space within myself, and this remembering and opening and embodying of this kind of care. And this is also the way that I teach and transmit in these breast massage trainings that I offer, is remembering this way, where there absolutely is, skills to learn and pieces to, skills to learn, and attunement of our fingers and hands and beings to be accurate and supportive. And it's also the greater field that we are holding, the greater field of space and presence that we bring, that we are holding for each other. So thank you for receiving this medicine, and my prayer is that that we can shift the tides and really create this kind of truly reverent and nourishing care for women's bodies.